There are 13 armor sets in Ghost of Yotei. Want to go over every perk and also tell you how to get them, which is also needed for the All Occasions trophy. So let's start with the Onryo outfit, your first outfit, which does not have perks at the start of the game, but will be upgraded as you hit big milestones in the main story, adding this very cool cape as well. The perks you get are actually really good. Killing an enemy with a spirit attack, so the circle triangle moves, or with a thrown melee weapon has a moderate chance to terrify nearby enemies. And this actually triggers pretty often, making those enemies an easy target. And with the third perk of this set, you also deal more damage to these terrified enemies, which makes for a really great combo. And yes, the damage boost is definitely noticeable. The second perk says that the wolf has a major chance to appear when enemies are terrified, but in our testing that did not happen that often, and honestly there are better ways to summon the wolf. Overall though, this is a great armor set that you should not forget about throughout your journey. There's one armor set based on a member of the Yotei 6, the Snake Armor, that has a very fun playstyle. Empty sake jars have a chance of actually being full when picked up. And it's even better than it sounds, because when the perk triggers and you get a sake bottle added to your inventory, you still hold the empty bottle, so you can still throw it. And thrown sake jars explode on impact and create a poisonous cloud, meaning that you can immediately follow up with an execute. Other enemies hit by the cloud will build up stagger over time, and if they are staggered when they are still poisoned, you can also execute them. The only downside, and maybe you already see it coming, drinking these sake bottles yourself to be able to throw an empty one will get you drunk pretty easily. Still, it's a very fun playstyle. The outfit is part of the deluxe edition, or you can get the upgrade through the PlayStation Store if you want. One of my favorite looking outfits is definitely the Ninetales armor, which is all about using your tools. The first perk enhances the quick fire weapon damage and duration of status effect inflicted on enemies by a moderate amount, and that is pretty noticeable. If you are low on items, you can get them back by assassinating enemies with the second perk. Sadly, it has a minor chance to trigger, but you can of course use the smoke bombs to re-enter stealth and then get tools back by assassinating targets again. And you can also get smoke bombs back by assassinating targets. The enemy detection speed and assassin noises are also reduced by a moderate amount, which is nice. So it's a decent outfit, just mostly nice for the look, and you get it at the end of the first main mission in Tashio Ridge called Blood on the Snow, which you start right over here. And real quick, if you like the video so far, leave a like, that would really help me out, and subscribe for way more Ghost of Yotei content like this. There's also the Mercenary outfit, which has an average look. Thrown melee weapons deal increased damage by a moderate amount and grant a moderate amount of spirit is the first perk, but thrown weapons are already pretty strong and their damage can also be increased with charms. The spirit increase isn't really noticeable either. You also get a guaranteed sake bottle from any enemy you assassinate, but you have to loot the body manually instead of it being automatically added to your inventory. And since you can only carry 2 sake bottles, you cannot always benefit from this effect. And drinking sake grants a major amount of additional spirit, which comes down to almost a full extra orb. Kind of nice, but overall it's a really average armor set. You get it by completing the Belly of the Beast main mission, one of the first main missions in the Ishikari Plains. There's one armor set that is all about the Tanegashima rifle called Genji's Guard. With this armor you namely increase the Tanegashima reload speed by a moderate amount. It's normally 5 seconds and now 3.5 seconds, so while it's still not quick, you will definitely notice the difference. You get that rifle, by the way, by following the main story. We talked about that weapon and way more other unlocks, some of which are very well hidden in a recent video. I will leave a link to it in the video description. Going back to the Genji's Guard armor set, because you can also hold your block to deflect incoming bullets from enemies, which grants you spirit as well. Definitely useful against an entire volley from a firing squad. And incoming projectiles inflict less damage by a massive amount, which in our testing seems to reduce the damage by around 50%. Kind of nice, but overall this armor is very situational. You need to be facing a lot of ranged enemies for it to really matter. To get the armor, you first have to reach the Oshima coast by following the main story, then talk to our favorite armorer, Genji, who will have the quest for you, and you can find him over here on the map. A returning armor set from Tsushima is, yes, the Fundoshi, which Atsu can wear as well, although she's not wearing much. And just like in Tsushima, running and sprinting no longer create noise. So as long as you're not in the enemy's line of sight, you can sprint right up to them and quickly assassinate them for a speedrun stealth playstyle. New this time is the at cost of warmth mention, but that just seems to be a funny remark. When you wear this outfit in parts of the map where it's freezing, you lose the same amount of max health as with any other armor set. Apart from one, but I will get to that later. To get it, you once again have to go after every hot spring. There are 16 in this game versus 18 in Tsushima, but new is that you can now use a shamisen song to guide you to a nearby hot spring. You can find that song right over here on the map in the Ishikari Plains. Simply go here and play the song to unlock it. Then play the song on the shamisen and follow the wind to go to a hot spring. I've got more tips on the shamisen and other things in my secret tricks video. A link to that in the video description. And if you just want a video, I will also leave a guide with all the hot springs in the video description. One of the first armor sets in Ghost of Yotei you will likely get is the Taro Armor, which features a very cool headpiece as part of the final upgrade. The perks sadly are not that strong. All spirits gains increase by a moderate amount when graced with a cooking spirit bonus. Is sadly not very noticeable. Maximum health is also increased by a moderate amount, but when you compare a fully maxed out health bar with and without the armor, you barely notice any difference. The biggest impact comes from the fire and cold damage reduction, which increased by a major amount. So with this armor, the cold effect builds up much slower and it caps your health by only a small margin, while with the other armor sets, you lose almost a third of your total health. The fire resistance increase is noticeable too, but also this is very situational, so I would argue it's not really worth it overall. You can get this armor as a guaranteed reward by going right over here on the map if you have not met Taro before. The Crimson Kimono is the more powerful stealth armor that lets you add kunai throws to your chain assassinations. Enemy detection is reduced by a massive amount, and the increased range for the Kusarigama is especially good. You get this armor from a mythic tale in Tashio Ridge, which you reach by following this main mission over here. The armor of the Undying is, I know for many, their favorite looking armor set, and it's all about aligning your weapons, so using the right weapon to counter the enemy. If you do that, you restore some health when staggering an enemy, and performing a perfect parry or perfect dodge becomes easier to pull off as well, and your charged heavy attacks also have a moderate chance to deal more stagger damage. You get it from a mythic tale in the Ishikari Plains over here on the map, which you reach by following this main mission. The Spider Lily armor is awesome because you can trigger a blast when staggering an enemy, which deals stagger damage to surrounding targets as well. You also stagger enemies faster in general, and enemies also have a moderate chance to drop throwable weapons, which is, of course, extremely useful for immediately killing or damaging the next target. You get this armor from a mythic tale in Tokashi Range right over here on the map. My favorite looking armor set, and I want to know yours as well, but mine is this one, the Dragonfly set. This one adds a glint to your arrows that empowers your shot, giving it extra damage and range. When you fire these empowered shots, you gain a moderate amount of concentration, letting you use the slow time effect longer, and the final perk increases arrow reload speed by a major amount. You get this armor from a side quest in Tokashi Range, which starts over here. The Bounty Master armor is basically the Sarugami armor from Tsushima. Your perfect parry and dodge windows are increased by a major amount, but regular parries are disabled. If you pull off a perfect parry, you'll perform 3 additional counter attacks, which is really good, and all your spirit gains are increased by around 50%, making this a really nice armor if you can master those timing windows. You get it after completing 4 bounties at the Yotei Shadow Inn. Then you will hear about a special bounty that gives you the armor. And by the way, we went more in depth on these 5 armor sets I just mentioned in our early armor sets video. Link to that in the video description if you want to learn more. The ropes of the Sitturaynu help you find things in the open world. You will now see fireflies appear near altars of reflection and Ainu items. They move slowly but can guide you in the right direction. With this outfit, golden birds will now lead you to shamisen songs, Sumi-e paintings, pillars of the fallen, and dye merchants. And you should now collect flowers when riding through white flower trails or sneaking through tall grass, but it did not really work for me, and in my experience, you have enough flowers anyways. But yeah, it's a great armor to get if you are focused on completing activities in the open world. You get it from Hushi's side quest after meeting her during the main mission that starts over here on the map. And to upgrade it, you need to find Ainu items. I've got some great tricks for that, plus more tips in my secret tricks video. You can watch it by clicking on the screen. Subscribe for more Ghost of Yotei, leave a like, and I will speak to you soon. Goodbye.